Once again, this is a retired military veteran residing in Valdosta, also known as Titletown, USA in football, in the county of Lowndes and in the state of Georgia. Many of you all have watched the video about the situation in Brunswick, Georgia, where the two white Caucasian citizens shot dead another black man here in the United States of America on the streets. And that has gained national headlines now. And a lot of you all are outraged about that, and you are thanking the news media for covering that disgraceful act. I'm not going to talk that much about that, although Bobby Worthy, myself, and former Judge Nally, we've been working the Brunswick area, the Glenville, Kingsland area over there for a long time now, including Ware County and all in between. But today I want to draw your attention to, yes, that young man's case is now on the national stage, if not the world stage. But my question is a simple one. You think that that is a disgrace? We as black folk in particular, we get all outraged each and every time something like that happens. However, we don't connect the dots and we don't paint the picture of others that never reach CBS, ABC, Nightline, and Dateline. Not that they are not contacted, but you see, the news media in this country is the best news that money can buy. It's just that simple. And in too many cases, since I started doing what I've been doing on YouTube under the title of the Get To Free Press, those in the news media are among those in the clique and among the slicks. Let me repeat. Those in the news media, too many people in the news media, they are in the clique and among the slicks. That means they don't report the news in the black community. I'm not just ghost talking, and I'm not talking about what I don't know. I'm talking about what I have proven, backed up by bona fide facts. Case in point, do you see a Georgia state flag right here flying over the Southern Judicial Circuit Courthouse in Lowndes County? If you do not see a Georgia state flag, ask yourself a question. Why don't these elected officials on the city council, Mayor Scott James Matheson, and the chairman of the Lowndes County Board of Commissioners, why do they not fly the Georgia flag to honor members of our armed forces in uniform, both men and women, both Democrats, Republican, Green Party, and Independents? Why don't they fly the Georgia flag like the other 50 states in the United States? You may want to ask yourself that question. Why don't they do that? Well, you're probably saying, well, because nobody told them. I've been presenting this to the local Valdosta Daily Times for over 4 years now. I've gone to the school board of education, and they put up some Georgia flag, but you'll still see a couple schools that do not have a flag in honor of the men and women in our National Guard, that if Governor D call out to come out during this natural pandemic situation, they will put their life on again in the state of Georgia. But they don't think enough, from the governor, Brian P. Kemp, on down to the city mayor and county commissioners here in Valdosta, Georgia. And I have over 50 or 60,000 people, many retired commissioned officers, non-enlisted personnel. Won't nobody talk about it but me. And I am George Boston Rhymes, and I'm going to continue talking about it. Because as a veteran of 21 years, it is a disgrace to me. And I love your children even if you don't love them. I love your children in uniform with their life on the line and could die in a foreign nation. And so I'm going to continue to talk about it. I don't placate, imitate, nor duplicate. On Memorial Day, I go to Memorial Day ceremonies here in Valdosta and Lowndes County. And in many cases, where they go to have the dedication, they don't even have a Georgia flag to represent the men and women in uniform. I'm going to say it again. I've been saying it for a long time. It is a disgrace that the chairman of the Lowndes County Board of Commissioners cannot fly a Georgia state flag in honor of your sons and your daughters, even if you don't care nothing about it. And I'm going to say again, if the news media will not cover this after we notify them, this is what happened in Brunswick. Look how long that incident happened before they finally did something about it. Mr. Worthy and myself, along with other civil rights organizations, we called the news media in Jacksonville, Florida, and all around, Atlanta Journal and Constitution, NBC, CBS, Dateline, Nightline, HLN, and the rest of them lying people. And they will not come to your community when something is in your community, but they'll tell you, we love Americans, and we believe in equality and justice for all men. Well, if you believe that, why don't you practice that? Now, I know some of you all saying I'm lying. Well, let me ask you a question. When Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp brought Equipment 10+2 up on all those bogus voter fraud charges, and after 4 years, all charges were dropped, but one person was left dead, Latasha Head, from the stress placed upon her. And it's not just in Georgia. The Madison, Florida 9 brought up on false, bogus voter fraud charges. Couldn't get a news media to connect the dots between Madison and Brooks County with the Equipment 10+2. Wait a minute. The Atlanta Journal and Constitution didn't go to any of these places. CNN, Nightline, Dateline, HLN, 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, none of them give a damn about that. And so the news went unreported, and it still have gone unreported. Yet they get on TV and talk about they believe in voting rights. The hell they do. How can you say you believe in voting rights? And I done painted a picture from Madison, Florida, all the way up on the west side of Highway 75 to Clayton County and Douglas, Georgia, where that black male was shot 6 times and left in his yard for dead. Not to mention Meigs, Georgia, Lumpkin, Georgia, Dawson, Georgia, Clayton County, Georgia. That just on the west side. Some more I can't think of right now. What have you heard Stacey Abrams say it about connecting the dots again about all these people that have been mistreated? So one lady, 84 years old in Marvin, Georgia, says she would never ever vote again because of what Brian P. Kemp, the Georgia G.B.R. law enforcement, and others put those black folk through. And in every city, without exception, they go in and they are charged the most respected, the most educated, the most recognized and respected black folks in these communities. Bring them up on charges. But the news media, yeah, they'll report on one city, but nobody in the United States of America have done what I have done, and others, when I say others, ain't no others, but they will not connect the dots because they don't care. Why don't they care? Because they are a part of the problem and never will be a part of the solution. Now, that's on the west side of 75. I have also covered on the east side of I-75, from Homerville, Georgia, through Douglas, Georgia, through Nichols, Georgia, through Willacoochee, Georgia, through Telfair County, and on up through Gordon, Georgia, Sparta and Hancock County, Georgia, all the way up to George Ivy. And you know what? No news media have published collectively one word about all these places. At least the New York Times came down and went to Sparta, Georgia, and did a story on that, how they was asking black folk to show their property deeds on how they voted, wanted to see their property deeds. That didn't reach national news. So I'm not all excited about what happened in Brunswick, because won't nobody paint the picture about all these others voting rights problems, satanic movements. Wait a minute, one more. No, several more. While we're at it, here in Valdosta, Georgia, the death of Kendrick Johnson. I'm under a 7-year criminal trespass, and I violated no law. And I got it documented that even the criminal trespass that they gave me, they didn't even put it in writing. And if I had not recorded it, when they denied ever doing it, there would have been no proof that they did it. They did it on 2 separate occasions, because those in the clique and among the slicks apparently knew that they were not going to report something about the Kendrick Johnson death, even if they brought it forth. And somebody tried to hush me up, I guess, so I couldn't even go on the property. So they banned me, and I'm still under that bogus criminal trespass. And I violated no law. As a citizen and veteran of the United States of America, no news media network, the Valdosta Daily Times, our only newspaper, haven't published one word about it. I went and talked to the editor. I'm not lying on him. I went and talked to the editor before him. But they didn't consider that as news, because I guess they have them in the black community. When the 14-year-old girl was hog-tied at Pine Grove Middle School, thrown on the ground, had her hand tied behind her back, as if though she had murdered somebody. Not a single newspaper, not a single TV station, not a single radio station published that at all. But I did. I went with the mother to these news media networks. No, I'm a bear witness that she went to them, gave her paperwork, but that was not news to them. All charges were dropped on her, but they didn't get to sue these people. Liars. Even the judge, I can't think of his name. But if you Google the 14-year-old black girl hog-tied at Pine Grove, you'll see the video on it. You'll see it. But nobody published that. Nobody connected dots about that. Wait a minute. The man that called me in Alma, Georgia, the way they killed his son, the police did up there, he ain't got no justice until this day. I can go, what about Nathaniel Lee? What about Roberson's case and Nathaniel? Well, what about all those people? Won't nobody connected. Where in the hell is HLN? We thought she was something, but now we are finding out that they all seem to be in the clique and among the slicks. And they will not tell the truth. They will not publish the truth. Yet your sons and your daughters, they put on that uniform like I did for 21 years, and they get lied to. And just like here in Valdosta, Lowndes County, after you put your life on the line like I did, they won't even fly a damn Georgia flag on the flagpole in front of the courthouse here in Valdosta and Lowndes County, Georgia. I'm going to tell you why before this money is over. I know why they don't fly it. Go to the Rainwater Conference Center. No Georgia state flag. Go to Valdosta City Annex next down from City Hall. You don't see a Georgia flag. Go to the museum. No Georgia flag. Go to Parks and Recreation. No Georgia flag. Go to the VA clinic where veterans go to get treatment after they are half dead, and they don't fly a Georgia state flag in their honor, but they'll tell them on Memorial Day and on Veterans Day, we love our veterans. I'll say like Jesus said if he was here today. I speak like the Muslims of Muhammad if any was here today. I speak like the Buddhists who, if they really follow the right Buddha, they would say they are liars and the truth are not in them, because Jesus said, how can you say you love me but you fail to do what I say? And what is that? To feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to stand up for those who are without. St. Luke 4:18, for the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, he's anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, recovering of sight to the blind, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord, set at liberty them that are bruised, and that, you know. So you don't fool me by going to church and as a devil worshiper and pretending to be a follower of Jesus Christ. I know who you are. I know by the fruits that fall from your tree. You don't fool me. You can fool some people, but you can't fool the household of the faithful. So I'm gonna close. Yes, people asking me, Rhymes, are you going to Brunswick? No, I'm not going to Brunswick. I already been to Brunswick. I already been to Kingsland. I already been to Glen Glenville here. I already been to Sylvester, Georgia, where the policeman ran over that black man and backed over him, ran over him again twice, and no justice came in that case. And the news media will not connect the dots. Now you say, are you a part of the news media, Brother Ryan? Well, don't you all supposed to have a code of ethics where you don't talk about other news media? Yes, that is true. I read the book and I understand it well. But there's another ethics code that I have, and it's in the volume of Sacred Law, which says, love ye one another, which says St. John 4:18. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set and make you free. And so if the news media don't publish the truth, and if the news media don't speak the truth, and if the news media don't get out and get the truth, and then educate the people, then they are no good to our form of government. And they are a disgrace to the founding fathers of this great republic. And there is no two ways about it. And so you all go on and talk about how you praise the news media for what they did over there in Brunswick. But there's more than Brunswick here, y'all. There's more than Brunswick. There are people that are dead, sleeping in their grave because they didn't have no news media to highlight their story in the black community. Go to Gordon, Georgia, and look at Mayor Ann Whippaloo when all the news media up there in Macon, Georgia, I'm talking about with that exception, they all came out after her. She didn't even trust them to interview her. So who did she call? She called me to Get To Free Press, and I gave her a sit-down, complete interview every time she wanted to be interviewed. And they ran her out of office. She did her 4 years, but then she got out because the news media lied on her in Middle District of Georgia, and I got the proof to prove it. I'll say it again. I got the proof to prove they lied on her. And it's backed up by bold facts. And I got named there, the people that live in there, including one white lady who she was so outdone that she just didn't believe what her white people were doing to this black lady, all because she was trying to account for $1.5 million that was gone missing over the years. And when she took off, the white people there in Gordon told her, you better find out and not just have a yearly audit, but you better get a forensic audit and look deep in the books, because them white folk been taking that money, baby. Been taking taxpayers' money. And I want you to know she didn't win. And those in the clique and among the slicks fought her every way. Never had that forensic audit. Even when the forensic auditor came in, they wouldn't approve it, and still haven't approved it. And they still have not counted for that $1.5 million. But Georgia don't have no GMA that will look at that. GMA don't have no G.B.R. that will go and investigate. Georgia don't have no state leaders in the House of Representatives, in the legislature that who are looking at that $1.5 million that the finance chair Terry Reese talked about up until his death. And while I'm at it, he also said that a little city less than 3,000 people had 19 banking accounts in Gordon, Georgia. Let me say it again. They had 19 banking accounts. And he said on tape at several public meetings that he didn't know how much money was in the banking accounts. You hear what I say? You hear what I say? Now, who connected the dots on that? Moving over to Nicholas, Georgia, when $750,000 was unaccounted for. I was called over there by the president, Preston. And the secretary sitting behind the desk, a white secretary, said she was fed up with it, and she went further to say this. She said it hadn't had an audit. I'm talking about a yearly audit in over 10 years. And it's required by Georgia law and most charters to have an audit every year. But who cares in the state of Georgia? Who cares? The damn newspaper sure as heaven don't. And I got proof to show it. Then they're going to put me under a criminal trespass in the KJ case because they didn't want me. I guess they was afraid some children going to tell the truth, and they know that I was not in the clique and among the slicks, and I sure as heaven would publish it too. Wait a minute, one more. Why am I banned up in the Toombs Judicial Circuit by the circuit judge? Ban me forever in all courtrooms in Toombs. I got his name. I don't mention him that much. But when I light in on him, when God tell me to move and speak the truth, I'm going to shed light on him too. And that happened years ago. I had 2 lawyers who wanted to take that case. But no, I'm waiting on God, because at the right time, when I expose that judge, then you all will see what a real democracy looked like. And thank God for Donald Trump, y'all. Don't be too hard on that man. And remember, God used Pharaoh to show the wickedness of the land in that day. God used Judas Iscariot to fulfill God's mission. God used lions in the lion's den. God used dry bones in the valley. God used storms and hurricanes and coronavirus to get his point across, as recorded in the book of Matthew 24:35. Say, heaven and earth would pass away, but my word would stand forever. And what is that? Touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm. Just because a lot of blacks are dying under this virus they got going out, or epidemic, or plague as you call it. Black man, black woman, and black children. We are going through this, but just remember what is recorded in the volume of sacred law. Psalm 68:31, talking about your people, the ones they call the scum of the earth. Read Psalm 68:31. Oh, the day is coming when every man will be required to pay for his evil deeds. And some people not going to pay nothing. God going to let them escape. They going to be able to lie, cheat, steal, and kill, and mistreat folks, and not even fly a Georgia flag in to honor the children that put their life on the line. God gonna allow them to get out of here and die and go to the graveyard, and they will not be punished. The scriptures tell you that. But if they only knew the hardship they bringing upon their own children, their grandchildren and great-grandchildren, down to the third and fourth generation, according to our God, oh, I wish they wouldn't do it. I pray for the people who wrong the righteous folk and the chosen people of this planet. I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for them. And that includes black folk who join with the wicked to get wicked works and actions through. But in the end, as it is written, for the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. I don't give a dime about you just because you sit in church and get on TV with your mega churches and ask people and beg people for their money, and like little fools, they send y'all millions of dollars. They go out, buy a jet airplane, buy them a Bentley, and then they talk about the people that give them the money like a suck egg dog behind closed doors. How do you know, Brother Ryan? Because I've heard them talk about y'all. I've seen bishops and I've seen pastors sit down in the circles of them and talk about how ignorant the people are. Just give them their money. They laugh about it. They laugh about it. They pretend they love God. But if they don't stand up for what is right and the thing that the prophets, priests, and kings stood up for yesterday, they are a liar. They don't love God. They are in the circle of Satan. And y'all can't even tell the difference from a man of God and a man or woman of Satan. You can't tell it. But some of us, God has given eyes to see, and you cannot fool us. That's why Jesus said if it was possible, the day was coming when it was possible Satan would try to fool even the very elect of God. But there are some of us, he can't fool no time, because somewhere I read, for as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. And Ecclesiastes 8:8 says, no man has power over the Spirit to retain the Spirit. And this is why Ezekiel went and preached to them dry bones, because the Spirit of the Lord was upon him in the form of a hand, and that hand took him out. And he preached to them dry bones. And everybody of that day probably called him crazy, just like they called me crazy for telling the truth in times like these. But you may not like what I say, but in truth, you cannot condemn me based on facts. You can't do it to save your life. You can't do it. And I'm going to tell you again, keep doing your wicked stuff. You may get out of here in your lifetime, but I feel sorry for your children, grandchildren, coming generation, down to the third and fourth generation, because they're going to pay for every wicked deed that you did and that of your ancestors. You're going to pay for it. Nobody get away in this program. You may get away from man, but you're not going to get away from God. God got ways, and he don't have to use a gun to come at you. Y'all have a nice day. And I say again, I feel sorry. My sympathy go out for the people in Brunswick. But them same parents, they're in Brunswick, that now concerned about their son. Where were you when others needed you? and you wouldn't come to them. It's just like people here in Valdosta. When other people have trouble, you don't go to them. But time something happened to you, your house, your church member, then you want somebody to come help you, but you don't go help other people. I went to all these other 40 cities and I fought for them. Almost went to jail myself several times. Been in the courtroom all the way up to Georgia State of Appeals on behalf, mostly black females, who the pastors, their own pastor wouldn't even walk with them. To quit my 10+2 over there in Brooks County. Listen, y'all, had a 19-day court case. Miss Lula Smart, 19-day court case, and not one news media, not one TV station, not one radio station covered any of those days. I think the Quitman Free Press was there 1 or 2 days, but they didn't cover that case because they saw it was going in the wrong direction, and they saw that they had done brought them black people up on bogus charges. And by the way, the first trial was a mistrial. The second trial was a mistrial. And the third trial, they cleared them people on all charges, over 100, near 200 charges. If you combine the sentences of all of them, it was over 1,000 years they would have been in prison. Under Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp. I told y'all don't vote that man in as governor. But just like in the days of old, you're going to pay a price. And listen. Don't y'all run around here and blame Donald Trump. Remember, it's your neighbor down the street. It's your own mother, father, and brother that voted that man in office. Don't blame Trump. Trump could not have gotten in office by himself. So if you don't like what he's doing, because your family members are now in the hospital, and in that hole they buried them dead folks in, and you voted for him, you brought it on yourself, baby. But that's okay, because God said, God gonna make everything that is done will work in favor of the righteous in the household of faith. So you don't have to worry about none of this. Now, I'm not telling you don't wear no damn mask. I've been wearing a mask for 2 months here in Georgia. They laughed at me when I started wearing my mask. The military trained me about chemical. Let me go, y'all. Bye.
You've got mail.
Greetings again. This is another attempt on Mother's Day to not give you words, but to provide a better understanding about how some men say Mother's Day and they never open their mouth. Not too many years ago, when the Madison, Florida 9 was brought up on bogus voter fraud charges in Madison, Florida, some were men and some were women. And I could tell the mother, but I traveled to Madison and I worked and supported you, went in the courtroom with you, when no news media would tell your story. God blessed me to be there. Interviewed the the lawyers from Tallahassee that took your case pro bono. Some men even put their life on the line, not to tell mothers that they love them, but they just work. I was in Atlanta, December 21st, 2010. Brian P. Kemp in the state of Georgia arrested 10 outstanding citizens, mothers and fathers. God blessed me not to be able to talk about it but to walk about it. And we had some strong black mothers, still do, over there in Brooks County with Equipment 10+2. Those were some strong black women, man. Professional people. And I want to say today, thank you all for standing up for mothers' children. Then I received a call from Meigs, Georgia, the black mayor there, Linda Harris. They lied her out of office. I mean, these wicked people lied on her. I could have sat back and said, Happy Mother's Day, but God inspired me along with others to go lend a helping hand. And when we stand up for others outside of ourselves, that is the real deal. And you don't do it for a reward. You don't even do it, I don't, to try to get to heaven. I just do it because it's the right thing to do. Then we looked at this white pattern in practice by Brian P. Kemp. Equipment 10+2 was exonerated on all bogus voter fraud charges. What they did to Linda Harris was a disgrace. And I could go all around the state of Georgia and talk about that, but that's not why I'm here. I just simply want to say to all you strong black mothers and white right mothers and the mothers who are just outright wicked, I just want you to know, you don't get away in this world. God said he will pay all of us for what we do. I have a daughter. She have children. I have sisters. They have children. And I just want to say, Happy Mother's Day to all of you all. You all have a nice day, and may God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. Peace. Once again, I am in Valdosta, Georgia, North Ashley Street, 400 block, in front of the Valdosta Lowndes County Superior Courthouse, Judge Arthur McLean building. They call it the Lowndes County Judicial and Administrative Complex. Today is Friday, May the 8th, and I'm here because I respect your children, your mothers and fathers who serve in the armed forces and who put their life on the line to keep our Republic a free and democratic society. Many people look at me and say, you're a troublemaker. And I simply say to them, my first name is not Trouble, and my last name is not Maker. But I am a man that served 21 years in the armed forces, and I served two tours of duty at Moody Air Force Base, just 6 miles north of Valdosta, Georgia. And just like the other commissioned officers, the generals, the lieutenant colonels, the majors, the captains, lieutenants, and chief master sergeants in the enlisted ranks and below, They all serve this nation, and some are still serving. But I'm different from them. The obligation that I took in the military and my code of conduct is what I still go by. In other words, if I was willing to fight and die for this nation, even though this nation was not willing to die and fight for the black man, woman, and their children from the year 1555 to 2020 in North America. And I go to events here in Valdosta for Memorial Day and Veterans Day. And I watch the city mayor, and I watch the chairman of the Lowndes County Board of Commissioners, along with the commissioners and along with other council members, say they love our veterans and they showing respect to them. But I say to you, my beloved American citizens, how can we say that we love our veterans and the people that you vote into office will not fly a Georgia state flag on the flagpole on the courthouse steps? What does this say to the judges that sit here in the state of Georgia? What does this say to these high-powered lawyers and senators? What about these representatives that seek your votes, but they disrespect your children by not raising the Georgia flag in honor of those children that the two of you produced? Well, I'm gonna quit now, but I promised you all 4 years ago that I would not stop until they find it in their heart to respect your children, my children, Democrats, Republican, Green Party, Independents, and no Crats at all. So I'm gonna leave you now. I know a lot of people gonna condemn me because I try to stand up for your children, because I try to speak up for your mother and your father. Some of your mothers and fathers died in Vietnam, only to come home and couldn't even use the bathroom, couldn't even vote or hold public office, but they marched into Germany, into Japan, into Panama, and other conflicts, including the Revolutionary War, and didn't even have a right to vote. And what I don't understand is how is it that our black leaders here in Valdosta, Georgia, cannot say anything? I don't understand how could it be that all these religious bigwheels here, all these people with all this high education, retired school teachers, retired veterans, retired members of law enforcement, how they can live here and you don't hear them speaking out for the most part on nothing publicly. Moreover, even more sickening than all of that is why is it that the Valdosta Daily Times, our only newspaper editor, why don't he look up at the flag and see that something is missing and do a front page coverage about this disrespect of those men and women in uniform? How could WCTV, WALB, ABC, Nightline, Dateline, how can this be, y'all? How can it be? Well, let me say this. Not too many days ago, just going to show you how things work and how God works. The district attorney in Waycross, George E. Barnhill, referred to me and the Get To Free Press as an uncertified news media organization. Now, when you look at what's going on over in Brunswick, now when you read and get all of the full information about how that young man was killed, and you look at the female district attorney, then look at George E. Barnhill, and you're going to find his name going to come up and his past actions there in Ware County. So I want to say to you all that I don't create these stories. People call me to these issues. When I went out to Moody Air Force Base, I didn't want to go out there and become a troublemaker, even though that's not my first and last name. But when the airman out there who was in uniform way back around 2009, when President Barack Obama was elected president, and they didn't even they didn't even display a picture of the president in the wing headquarters building. No member of the chain of command in his cabinet. Wait a minute. I hear y'all thinking. You say, Rhyme, you don't know what in the hell you talking about. Well, I never been to hell, but I do know what I'm talking about. When you go to become a non-enlisted, non-commissioned officer, and when they gave you that star on the inside of your rank as a buck sergeant, you had to go to something called NCO Leadership School. And if you didn't pass that course, you were through in the military because you couldn't serve no more. But I went to that class, and believe it or not, I passed it. And when I passed the non-commissioned officers leadership school, I understood about the Georgia flag and the United States flag. We understood that the executive commander-in-chief picture was displayed not only in the wing headquarters building, but also the base commanders building. And a lot of your squadrons had to have that chain of command there in their squadron. So when we went to test, we would go out and look at those pictures, and those pictures helped us on that class called the Non-Commissioned Officers Leadership School. The Air Force ain't changed that much since I was in. So I went out there and sat down with the wing commander, and I talked to him about this. So I'm going to ask you a question today. Is it discrimination or racism? I repeat, is it discrimination or racism? Now, I'm not a fool. I don't talk about the knowledge I have. I know that there used to be an old Georgia crossbuck flag, and I know it used to fly on that same flagpole right there. I have pictures of that flag in some of my videos. When the KJ was found dead, I got pictures when they had the old flag flying. In fact, I can show you pictures of the museum, the rainwater conference centers, and all these other buildings that had the old Georgia Confederate flag on the buildings. And for the last 4 years, I never brought that into the picture because I didn't want to. But the month of May, I'm going to really show you how these people have made a pact with each other. Black people and white people together have unified themselves together not to fly the Georgia flag, to show the disrespect they have for members of our armed forces. And I'm going to continue to say it because somebody got to say it. I'll be damned if I'm going to sit back and act like I'm in a country that my founding fathers, which were white, and the black people that fought in every war of this nation, and now we just sit down and won't say a damn thing, but I want to get to heaven where streets are paved with gold so I can sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and pray day and night serving the God that you never seen before. I'm glad Jesus wasn't like that. I'm glad Abraham wasn't like that. I'm glad Moses wasn't like that. I'm glad Jeremiah wasn't like that. I'm glad Elijah, Elisha. I'm glad Solomon and the rest of Esther, Deborah. I'm glad they wasn't like that. Those people was busy. They was on point. And they showed that they were the real followers of the God of their creation. But the religious leaders today and many people in our community today, they are proving to the world that they are following somebody other than the God that I've stated about. Y'all have a nice day. I just thought I would come out because today was Friday. I promise you all that I'm going to stay on this, and I'm going to tell you something. I may be dead and gone. It might be another 50 or 100 years before they fly a Georgia flag. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. It may be another 100 or 200 years. But one day God going to elect some elected officials here in Valdosta and Lowndes County. They're going to elect some elected officials that respect your children and respect these children, mothers and fathers who suffered, bled, and died to preserve this union. But today we just don't have it. And let me say this to you all. Don't be too hard on these elected officials that we have on serving today. They can't help themselves. They can't help it if they don't care about your sons and daughters. They cannot help themselves if they don't respect all the 58,000 people that died in the Vietnam War and many from the state of Georgia. They can't help themselves. See, the Bible says that some of these people would be put under the spell of the Leviathan and given over to a reprobated mind. That means that they would believe a lie rather than the truth, and the love of many would wax cold. Now, if I was on city council, do you all think I would say something if I was on city council? If I was on the mayor, if I was the mayor of this city, I'm talking me, George Boss Ryan. Do you think that I would disrespect your children and you children, mother and fathers like this? I'm saying to you, hell no. But they tell you, I love them. One more and I'm gonna close. Do you think that if I was the chairman of the Lowndes County Board of Commissioners, do you believe that I would just sit, say, and do nothing after a veteran of 21 years have been crying out for over 4 years? But then again, who cares? Y'all have a nice day, and thank you for tuning in. I know y'all don't want to hear this. You want me to do what these other people are doing. You just want me to drive past this and not say anything. Did you know that if Governor Brian P. Kemp called your sons and daughters in uniform here in the state of Georgia, that if he called them out to support and help try to resolve this pandemic plague, do you know they would be forced to come out whether they wanted to or not? Do you know that they would be putting their life in danger as if in a war zone? But when Brian P. Kemp come to Valdosta, the governor of the state of Georgia will look up. He's been here before. I'm sure he saw this. I'm sure Brian Kemp is aware of this. I'm talking the governor of the state of Georgia now. I'm not talking about Putin in Russia. I'm not talking about the dictator over in North Korea. But I'm talking about high elected officials like state senators come here and they see this disrespect. Deep down in their heart, they may say, that conspiracy we got going is working good. It's working good, man. We showing them that they got the flag taken down, but that don't mean we had to put up the new one. And so we showing them that they don't have the power. We have the power. And if it entails disrespecting the taxpayers' children and the parents of the children, we're going to continue to do it. And we dare these elected officials to stand up and do something on behalf of the people that voted them in the office. Now, y'all have a nice day. Again, I'm not in Russia. I'm not in China. I'm not in any other communist country. I'm right here in the state of Georgia, in the city of Valdosta, in the county of Lowndes, in the state of Georgia, and in the United States of America. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? So I want to say to you, if anybody want to talk, man. Talk about this. Don't just listen to me. You got a message probably more powerful than mine. You got points of view that probably would make the devil sick of the stomach. Y'all have a nice day. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. Bye-bye. We're gone. And by the way, I talk like this because I love you just this much. And don't you let nobody fool you. I don't even care if it's your wife, your girlfriend, your sweetheart, or significant other. If they tell you they love you, but if they can't stand up on your behalf and the behalf of your children and family members, you don't have nobody. And you better start looking for somebody because you are by yourself. Bye-bye. We go.
You've got mail.
Greetings. I'm George Buster Rhymes with the Get To Free Press. To my fellow Americans, did you notice, are you aware that coronavirus now is in the White House? And do you know that the people in the White House now, under President Trump's order, will be tested every day? And more if necessary. That should send a message to you who work in the hospitals, in industries, in nursing homes and senior citizens facilities, that if they test every day and you haven't had a test since you've been working there, what are they saying to you? That the people in the White House are more important than you. And that you are of no value to you nor your children. That's what it means. I'll say again, people of America, y'all better wake up. Now, I don't know what it's like to be under the gun, got to work in a plant every day in order to pay your light bill and feed your family. I'm not in them shoes right now. But I'll tell you one thing. I believe I would have to make some personal arrangements. Now, I've had people call me here in Valdosta that work in the senior citizens facilities here. One girl, when she first started working there, she wanted to wear a mask, but they told her she couldn't wear one. So when this thing got hot, she told the people there, if I can't wear my mask, you all can have this job. They allowed her to wear a mask, and eventually when this thing got hot, everybody started wearing a mask. I'm going to close today, y'all. I'm going to say this again. I know y'all can call me crazy. But everybody in America just cannot sit at home and ignore these first responders and your cousins who are working in daycare, home care, wherever, and they got to go to work. And they can't even be tested to know who they're working with. But those people in the White House now, because their life is more important than yours. Yeah, they mean a lot to their families. But they're telling you that you don't mean a damn thing. I cut many videos about this situation. And I told you all way back, like I said, I've been wearing my mask about 2 months now. They laughed at me, even my friends. But I don't blame you all for laughing at me. But you who've been in the military and they taught you about chemical warfare, that mask was not going to hurt me. And that mask don't improve nor take away from my looks. Because, hell, I don't look at my looks nowhere. I don't give a damn about how I look. What I'm concerned about, do I think right? How is my brain operating? How do I treat my fellow men? That's what I look at. I mean, you can look ugly as hell, but if you do good things and good deeds for good people, not to get to heaven, not to see Jesus after you die, but because it's the right thing to do. Now, y'all can say what you want. You can walk around here without your mask. You can go on out there and spend your money and spread your viruses with the people who be out there with you. Don't get me wrong now, I'm not a coward. I don't just sit home. I've gone to Lowe's. But you better believe me, I don't go unless I got to go. And when I go, at least I have on some type of protective equipment. You got people in the hospital can't even get the equipment that they need. Nurses and doctors are dying. And then you got your fellow Americans that support this president in the streets. Now, see, God got a way, y'all. I'm keep telling you all. No, let me repeat. I ain't telling y'all nothing. Let me take that back. I am saying to you all, y'all better wake up. You better wake up. A lot of people that supported this president, a lot of people got family members now in the hospital with this coronavirus. Look how long it took him to stop calling it fake news and a Democrat conspiracy. But you don't care. But when everybody in your family becomes sick, I ain't gonna say they all gonna die. No. But you at least ought to care enough. And y'all can believe this if you want to. They want you fighting against black and white, Jew and Gentile, Protestant and Catholic, and Muslims. But that virus don't give a damn what you call it. Just come in your house and tear your whole damn house down. Go in the Democratic Party and just tear up all the damn Democrats, all the Republican, Green Party. Don't give a damn about that. But here we go. Everything in this country now is about them dumbass Democrats. And the thing about it, those people that walk around and talk about them dumbass Republicans, you got Republicans in your own family. You don't even love your family members because they are different. Come on, y'all, get on the bus with me. Now, President Trump got to have some Democrats in his family somewhere. And he calling all of them dumb, stupid, low down, no good. Y'all better wake up to what Satan is doing to you all. And what get me, y'all, in America is all them big-time TV evangelists that y'all send y'all money to. What in heaven are they saying during these epidemics? What are they saying? During the pandemic, what are they saying? You think they care about you? Or do they care about their church door being closed and they can't get them dollars? I say again, I used to be a fool and I used to be a tool, but I fell on my way to the bus station. And I thank God for the fall. I thank God for the fall. I am no longer incarcerated and indoctrinated. I think outside the box. When God blessed me or the devil cursed me to get out of that box, I go back to the box. I ain't saying I don't go back to the box. I look in through the window. Yeah, I look in through the window. I see people playing them little games in the box. I don't laugh at them either. I don't laugh at them. I get depressed when I see people playing their little games in the box. And I know for a fact, not all of them, but even from a child, I've been with pastors and bishops. And I'm not going to say, some things I know it and been knowing. I won't say that. I respect the movement and those people who need a crutch to help them get down the steps. So I'm not going to talk about them. But I have seen them talk about how dumb the people was that is under their leadership. I've heard them say that behind closed doors. They laugh at you. And so it's time now for us to tell the truth so people can be free. You better get a brain in your head. You better start thinking for yourself. And you better understand that the black man and woman lineage was not started in this country in the year 5th of 1619, like they said in your civics lesson. That was a lie from the pits of hell. But that's what they taught me, so I didn't know no damn better. When I started picking up books and studying myself, the black man and woman was brought to these shores in the year 1555 aboard a slave ship called Jesus, captained by one Sir John Hawkins, a slave trader. And then England added ships to his fleet to increase the slave trade. Now put that in your pipe and smoke it. And don't take my word for it. And since you got a computer, or ask your young folk to get it on their phone, Google Good Ship Jesus and Sir John Hawkins, 1555, and see if George Boston Rhymes is lying to you. You see, when I first found that out, I said to myself, well, what in hell did they teach me in school? 1619. And we fought for in every war of this nation for this flag right here. And we still do not enjoy the rights and privileges of the white man in America. And before y'all start saying something about me and saying I'm a sellout Negro, you can say I'm a sellout Negro, but let me say this to you. White people was fighting for the black man, woman, and their children before we knew what the fight was all about. Because all white folk are not influenced by Satan. That's right, I'll say it again, Muslims. I'll say it again, Black Panthers. All white people are not evil, bad, low-down, dirty, white supremacists and others. All white people don't want to see this country destroyed. You hear what I say? Now, somebody got to say it. Somebody got to say it. Somebody got to love Jesus enough to say it. Because the devil sure as hell saying what he says. Calling it fake news. Fake news. Isn't it strange? Isn't it strange, y'all, how the American people fall for these tricks? How in the world that we have gone through 44, almost 50 presidents, and this man here, the only one, can just stand up and say, it's all fake news? Is he smarter than all the other 44 presidents? Does he have that much sense to say the FBI is no good? Come on, y'all. Get on the bus with me. Now, yeah, you right. I didn't go on the big bus to school. I rode the short bus. Y'all, excuse me for raising my voice. I didn't go on the long bus when I went to school. I went on the short bus. In fact, I didn't go on the short bus. They put me beneath the short bus. And the bus I got on was short, and then it didn't have no tires on it. So just say I didn't even go to school. But I'm not a fool today. And I know when you feed me brown rocks and telling me they black eyed peas, I know better. But what make me confused is that some of you rode the long bus. You rode in the bus, sat down on the seats. Some of your buses had seat belts on them. And you still confused as hell and letting these people make a fool out of you. And you won't stand up and speak for nothing. What make me sick, y'all? And I'm speaking the truth, and I'm not angry. The only reason I'm showing emphasis is because I want to show you all my concern as a humane being. In fact, I don't even like that word, human being. No, I ain't no human being. I don't want to be a humane being. I see what humane being do that's a human being right there. Yeah, he's a human being. I want to be a being that's human. I want to be a being that's humane. Get it? Humane. I'm going to close by saying this, you guys. I'm going to close by saying this, and I'm going to close when I make this point. It's hard for me to stop because I love you all just that much. But the Bible says, there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. I just want to be a friend of humanity. I don't care about getting to heaven. Y'all go on to heaven if you want to when you die. And just sit around and go to church and mosque and synagogue and don't get concerned about nobody or nothing but just doing what you do in church. I know I ain't supposed to say this, y'all. Some of you all done turned me off just because I said that. Listen to me closely, because I mean that from the depths of my heart. I don't care if I don't go to heaven. I really don't. But I want to show some good in this world. I want to do some good for somebody. You don't have to treat me good. But I just love doing good because it's in my nature. It's something in me that I just love to do right. That's why God got it fixed that very few people will even tell me thank you. That's one of the hardest things that is for anybody to tell me, Rhymes, you did a good job. We appreciate you putting your life on the line. We know your life been threatened, Brother Rhymes, but we just thank you for the work you do. I get it sometimes, but not much. And I know why. That's the road God have hewed out for me. And I love that. I don't want you telling me all the time that I'm doing a good job, because when you do that, you scare the hell out of me. You scare the hell out of me. I don't want your praise. Don't you remember what Jesus said? Jesus said, a man in it will be they of his own household. Did not Jesus say, have I not chosen you 12 apostles, and one of you is a devil? Did not Jesus say, Satan would try to fool the very elect of God? Did not Jesus say, I am the way? I'm not looking at Jesus as no man, never did. Well, I correct that after I fell on my way to the bus station. I don't look at Jesus as a man. That's why I don't want to be like a man Jesus. I don't. I want to be like what Jesus said he was. And what was that, Mr. Rhymes? Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. What did that mean, Brother Rhymes? He wasn't talking about no physical body with arms and legs. He was talking about come by the way of truth. Stand up for truth. Be willing to die for truth. Stand up for your black woman and white woman. Stand up for your nature. Don't put radiation in my earth. Don't put radiation in the air and kill my birds and those that I created. That's the Jesus I'm talking about. I've been laid down a Jesus that looked like a being human. Or being that's human. Y'all, excuse me for raising my voice. Excuse me. Now, y'all have a nice day. But I'm going to close by saying what I started with. The people in the White House are being tested every day. You not even being tested once a week on your jobs. And they telling you to go back to work. And they can't even get the people tested who work with you. Why don't the president say, look, I am your example, as Jesus was our example, as God is our example. And why don't he tell you all, Since you all are not being tested, I'm not going to test nobody in the White House either. No. We ain't no better than you. So we're not going to be tested. I don't want to be tested because you all are not being tested. Why should I want to be tested, American voters? Why should I want to be tested? Why should I want the people surrounding me to be tested? But you in the nursing home can't get tested. And those are the people with the highest problems. Because they got the serious ailment. But they not going to test you. So, Mr. President, you shouldn't get no damn test neither. Walk around the White House with those infected people. That's what you should do, Mr. Trump. CNN, MSNBC, 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, Dateline. Tell the president that for me, since y'all got access to him. Tell him, say, Mr. President, why are you getting tested, but the people in the nursing homes and the hospitals are not being tested? You getting tested every day. They can't get tested even once a week, not even once a month, once a month. But we, the American people, we watch these damn planes fly over the cities. And we hear people show up, people on TV, and praise the people that died. Praise the people that are first responders who are putting their life on the line, going on to the war, in a war zone, but don't have the equipment that they need. And who will stand up for them outside of this rhetoric that they tell us, just like they tell us, I love the veterans. The hell you do. I used to fall for that too. And here in Valdosta, Lowndes County, they don't even fly a Georgia state flag on the courthouse steps, on the flagpole. And won't no elected officials say anything about it. Out of 50 or 60,000 people, I'm the only one, I guess, that God have allowed to stand up and tell our elected officials that is disrespecting members of our armed forces. And I'm going to continue to say that is a disgrace. No other veteran here in Georgia will say nothing about it. But I'm going to keep on saying it. Y'all, this is my church. This is my serving God. This is what Jesus did. Jesus went before the president of his day, just like Moses went before the Pharaoh of his day, and say, let my people go. But today, the only thing we hear, come on, join my denomination. Give me the right hand of fellowship. Give us your right hand of fellowship. Give us your tithe money. And you don't see them in the community when things go off. Just like the young man in Brunswick. A lot of y'all asking me, Ryan, why don't you go to Brunswick? I already been to Brunswick. I was in Brunswick before this guy ever got killed or murdered. Years ago. To take on that issue in that same judicial circuit over there. And strangely enough, that District Attorney Barnhill is the same one I told y'all about a month ago who referred to me because I was on his case with that white lady over there and Bobby Worthy when he walked. I ain't going to get into that. But now black folks seem like they don't care. I'm getting where I don't want to even help black folk no more. Because all they want to do is go to church and go to the mosque, go to the synagogue, go to the temples and sit down and praise and look for they die, so look to the time they die so they can go to heaven and sit down with Jesus. But I don't blame y'all for that. I used to be the same way, but I failed on my way to the bus station. And I say, what good is my religion if my religion can't take me outside of the place where I worship and make me stand up for my own children, grandchildren, and coming generations? What good is religion? What good is your Holy Ghost if your Holy Ghost don't make you create a business so you can create some jobs for yourself? What good is being saved if you're not even in a position to save yourself or your neighbor across the street? What sanctified for what? You got a ghost, all right. My grandmama told me about a ghost when I was a kid. All ghosts do is scare the hell out of people. That's all they do. A ghost won't never help you clean out your yard, dump your trash. A ghost won't even help you spend your money, really. They'll scare the hell out of you, make you run and leave your money so somebody else can spend it. So what good is a ghost if the ghost don't work? But now the real ghost in the book of Acts, the book say that ghost would lead you, would guide you, and bring back to your remembrance whatever God and the righteous and holy Jesus said. But just to walk around saying, I'm a friend of Jesus, and you don't love the Latinos, you can't find nothing good to say about females, you can't respect a woman, you got to grab her in parts that you have no business, and then you deny you did it. And come on, get on the bus with me, y'all. Y'all better think today. I'm going to say it again, Mr. President. I hope somebody give the president this tape. Because I'm not ashamed of one thing I'm saying to him. I mean what I'm saying. Mr. President Donald J. Trump, if you getting a test every day, why is it that you open up the government and these businesses, jobs, but they can't even get tested every week or every month, Mr. President? Mr. President, who are you? Who do you care about, man? Who do you care about? Do you have any family members that work in plants and they are not tested? Mr. President, should not you be working on making sure people can get tested? Y'all have a nice day. When I saw that yesterday, I said to myself, I'm not going to say nothing. And I was out working in my yard. I said, let me go ahead and talk to the people I love. Because the president sure as hell is talking to the people he loves. And he's trying to save their life. But he's showing us that he don't give a damn about yours. Bye-bye. Go.
Greetings. I'm George Boston Ryan, to get to Free Press, YouTube, Facebook, George Boston Ryan's website, georgebostonryans.com. It's just reported on CNN and MSNBC that the deaths in Mexico from the coronavirus are not being accurately reported. They just show crematories burning the dead bodies, the smoke coming up from the facility, the ambulances, the storage area at the hospital are being overrun by deaths. And yet there are those among us who do not believe that we need to wear masks or gloves or to keep our children at home and protected. It is a sad day on our planet, a sad day. Still we hear first responders saying they cannot get the protection equipment they need. And it seems as if though our government leaders, many of them, are only concerned about getting people back to work, but not ensuring their safety. But many of us, the American people, regardless whether we've been Russia, China, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Tajikistan, or Israel, we are the one who voted this president into office. If he was not in office, I honestly believe that things could have been handled differently. at least we would see a president speaking with sincerity that he is concerned about the loss of human life. So I just want to say to you as I close, please take this pandemic seriously. All the people who call this a conspiracy, if you call it a population reduction, all that may be true. But in the final analysis, if you can't protect yourself and your children, it's only common sense that you do that. As I said, I'm sitting here in my home watching television and doing other things that I should have done a long, long time ago. But when they came on and started talking about Mexico and how the president did not take it seriously when he first heard about it in Mexico, he took no action. And they say now he's reaping the consequences. And not necessarily him, but the people. So as you see your fellow Americans, let me repeat. So as you see your fellow Americans, along with your own brother, sister, mother, and father, walking around as if though this was January last year, don't blame them. There are some people that don't care about themselves, their family members, or no one else. Y'all have a nice day. All I want to do is to help the people who want to help themselves. I want people to think about their children and their loved ones. I want you to think about the people who are working in the nursing homes. I want you to think about those black low-income workers. Many of them out there, they're taking care of white folk. Poor, rich, elderly white folk. Diseased white folk. The blacks, they've been working not only during this epidemic. Black people have always taken care of the sick white folk. Many of them was Democrat, Republican crat, Independent crat, Green Party crat, or no crat at all. And some of those white folks are so prejudiced. I have people in the nursing homes tell me about it. They don't even want them to touch nothing, but they gotta feed them. In many cases, they can't even pull a fork up to their mouth. And I don't mean to be ugly, y'all, but I'm just wondering if God did not use this pandemic to show America that we are either going to live out the words of Dr. King and many other prophets, priests, and kings who travel that great land of Holy Divine. Dr. King perhaps was America's last chance, and he said to America and the world that we are either learn how to live together here as brothers and sisters, or we are all perish and die as fools. Isn't it sad? Isn't it sad, y'all? I've covered 40 cities here in the state of Georgia concerning voter suppression, voter intimidation, voter impediments, and removing black elected officials from office. Many of them, my beautiful brothers and sisters listening to me today, they were removed from office because these white folk and the black Uncle Toms and Aunt James that joined in with them said they violated their oath of office, when in truth they did not. I have been all the way up in the courtrooms up to the Georgia State of Appeals to help black elected officials try to get a just day in court among wicked devils here in the state of Georgia, and it's widespread. But the question remains right now. Cannot the Congress or somebody get this president under the charge of violating his oath of office? Violating his oath of office. And that is to protect and serve. I heard him when he read his oath. And to me, it's obvious that he had violated his oath of office. And it seemed as if though he could care less about the suffering American people. As I said, I just saw over in Mexico, the crematory smokestack was jet black. And I heard the reporter said that he went, this was an American reporter, that he reported and he counted bodies. He said there is at least 600 Mexicans that are dying on a daily basis in Mexico. But the numbers are not being reported. And I'm not a rocket scientist, but I am a rocking chair operator. In other words, I know how to operate a rocking chair. And if Mexico, and if China, and if Russia are not reporting the actual numbers of deaths, then what make you think that the state of Georgia and many other states in the United States will report the number of deaths? I say again, if you love your fellow Americans, if you love your family members, you better stand up and you better speak out on behalf of the American people. Because the Bible says that the love of many would wax cold. Moreover, he said some would rather follow a lie than the truth. And we see that among us today. And in addition to that, my beautiful sisters and brothers, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feeling. Jesus also said, I'm not talking about the end of the world. I'm not talking about the end of the world. I'm talking about the end of the age. Jesus said, as it was in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. So when you see on CNN, MSNBC, all these commercials with gay men, they're mostly black, gay women, mostly white, hugging each other, kissing on each other, as if though this is what God ordained for man and all other life sources on the planet. If they don't want us to speak ill of them, we respect that. But don't you think of us illly when we say we don't want to have no part in that lifestyle. We don't hate you, but we don't like that lifestyle. And somebody got to say it. The preachers won't say it. The deacons won't say it. But God said it. And it's written in the volume of sacred law. And I understand that some of the people that went that way was abused by their own family members. And I can't talk about that because I don't know about it. So some of you are justified based on your experience by wicked pastors and religious leaders. Some of them took advantage of you. But at least acknowledge that God did not ordain that for you. And if you don't believe it, just keep living according to what Jesus said. As it was in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, Jesus said that women would turn to their own selves, men would turn unto themselves, and he talked how cruel and ungodly that act was. And let me say this in closing. I promise you all, I got something to do. But when I saw the smokestack, I had to share this with you. I had a father to call me about 2 weeks ago, and I don't think I've reported in any of my videos. I'm going to do it now. He said his daughter was 3 years old and she watched cartoons on TV. That was her favorite TV cartoon. And he said that she came and told him that she saw two women, girls really, kissing on her cartoon program. I'm not going to give the name of it, but I could. And she said, Mama, Daddy, I don't want to see that cartoon no more. I don't like it anymore. It's not right. It's not right. I don't like it. Well, if a 3-year-old child knows something is not the best of the best, well, y'all excuse me. I didn't mean to hurt nobody's feelings. I don't speak that out of hate. I speak it out of what is written. You who know me that are gay, you all know me. I sit down when we could get in McDonald's and I talk to you. And you share with me some of your experiences. That's why I can talk about it. Some of these people were molested by their uncle, their daddy, their brother, their pastors, their deacons. Many of them were molested. But nobody said nothing about that. The priests in the Catholic Church won't get a woman who's bunning up for companionship, love, and sex. But they go grab up a little underage boy and have sex with him. And his mind is messed up. You done messed him up for the rest of for his life. Some of you fathers, out of ignorance and nobody told you, you mess up the mind of your daughters. And some of us are ignorant to it. And some of us try to protect our daughters so much until we go too far. But I did not know even myself. I didn't know because I didn't have a good teacher. But if I know better, then you do better. You teach other people better. I love Martin Luther King, but I love Farrakhan also. When I started watching Minister Farrakhan, and he started talking about how many women was abused by their father, I took note of that man. And so I'm going to say to you, keep your eyes open, and as Dr. King said, keep the bread fresh, because you don't never know when somebody going to come by and want to sup with you. Have a nice day. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. But above all, let us be a blessing to one another. And let us not just love God and Jesus. Let us love one another. Greater love has no man than this, that he would lay down his life for a friend. Not a Democratic friend, not a Republican friend, Independent or Green Party friend, not a Catholic, Muslim, Jew, Hindu, Protestant, whatever, but for a friend. Let love abide in your heart. Then you can tell me something about Jesus, or Allah, or Jehovah, or Buddha. But you can't tell me a heavenly thing about the God you serve when you walk around with racism and hate in your heart. Or fear. Fear. Scared to speak the truth because you think somebody gonna get you. Boo! God have never used a servant that lived in fear. For the book says God did not give you the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Y'all have a nice day. Bye-bye. Gone.
You've got mail.
Greetings. I was just informed that tomorrow there will be a big meeting over in Brunswick, Georgia, where this young black man was killed while jogging. And I just received a call earlier this morning about asking if I'm going to be in Brunswick tomorrow. Well, now, I do not intend to be in Brunswick tomorrow. People told me about the bus tour that's traveling down from Atlanta, and they'll be meeting in Waycross around 12:30 tomorrow. And if I would come and record the event, because it probably would be a nice publication on my channel. Well, if you all know me, I kind of given up on all that now. With all that I have done over these many years, I'm tired of being disrespected. I'm going to continue to do what I do. But I'm just going to sit this one out. Y'all have a nice day. Have a great day over there in Brunswick tomorrow. Bobby Worthy, I understand, will be there. Commissioner Olivia Coley-Pearson and others. But when I stood up along with other right Georgians concerning these black females and the election process, including Equipment 10+2, when we called for the big buses, they didn't come. And so I'm not trying to do evil for evil. But what I am trying to do is stand up for what is right. Once again, just get tiresome when you see people get concerned over an incident, one incident, but all these other people are dying across the state of Georgia, getting shot and run over by police officers. You don't get the outcry. Only certain ones. And when these certain incidents happen, your big time attorneys come. The death of Roberson is no less important than another. The death of Overstreet in Northeast Georgia is no less important. The death in Sylvester, where the police sheriff deputy ran over the black guy, then backed over him again, is no less important. Nathaniel Lee death is no less important. The Kendrick Johnson death is no less important. The arrest and conviction of Dr. Rhonda Cross Scott in Homerville, Georgia was no less important. What they did to Olivia Coley-Pearson in Douglas, Georgia is no less important. What they did to the 9 black women, not black women, mostly black women, in Madison, Florida, when there's bogus voter fraud charges under Secretary of State, that incident was no less important. They ran Linda Harris out of office in Meigs, Georgia. That incident is no less important. Lumpkin, Georgia Mayor Charles Gibson and what he went through, being called a nigger while serving as mayor, is no less important. Naya, the clerk, the city clerk, they removed her from office. That whole scenario and this picture that I'm painting is no less important than what is going to take place tomorrow in Brunswick, Georgia. Clayton County, Georgia, where a candidate running for state office called Hell on the Backside of Heaven went to Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp meeting in Macon like I did, and he presented his case, and they still turned thumbs down on there. Where was Mr. Crump in all of these incidents? And I love the brother, I'm not downing him. I thank God for the great work he's doing. But where was the big wheels on all of these things that I have highlighted, painted the picture, sent it to Eric Holder, sent it to Barack Obama when he was the president, and they didn't do a heavenly thing about it. They wouldn't even connect the dots. They are no less important than what they are traveling to Brunswick with. That's why when they call me on a national level to go across this country to record, I tell them, heavens no. There are too many other people in pain, and y'all just sit back, duplicate, placate, and imitate others while these other people suffer, and you will rush over to one, and this crowd where you run to these cities, it's not going to last that long. 3 weeks and they done forgot it. Ain't going back no more. Ain't going to follow up on nothing. But since December the 21st, 2010, I've been painting this picture like Michelangelo. And I'm going to continue. But I'm not going to be the same fool and the same tool where you slap me upside my head and say, get out of here, dog. We don't appreciate nothing you do, nor those other folk who go to these small towns where these people don't have no crump coming to their aid. They don't have Stacey Abrams going out there on their behalf. The TV stations, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, Nightline, Dateline, 60 Minutes, 43 hours, 6 seconds, and your second. Y'all will not show up then. No, I'm not going to Brunswick tomorrow. I keep getting people asking me, Ryan, why haven't you been to Brunswick? Because I'm tired of following these big crowd of people, and then 3 weeks, and y'all don't go back no more. You leave little people like me and others, Bobby Worthy, to go to these little small towns. And you know what? Let me say this. Do you know that in Brooks County, home of the Quitman 10 plus 2, I'm going to say 300 plus people was at the Freedom Fund banquet in a little town like Quitman. Stacey Abrams was the guest speaker. Do you not know these white news media network and newspapers down south in the state of Georgia didn't even cover her? Now, Lanier County, my white friend up there, Carolyn, she came. I give her credit. And so now y'all don't think I'm angry when I speak like this, but you see I'm pregnant and I can't give birth. I'm not in pain, but it hurts me mentally to know that I have a child in my stomach and I can't get him out. But I keep on trying by using the wound of my mouth to give you truth that will bring about the resurrection of the dead within your head. Wait a minute, I haven't finished yet. What they did to Christopher Wright, the black mayor in Dawson, Georgia, was no less important than what happened in Brunswick. He was shot 6 times, left in his yard for dead. And if his neighbor hadn't came out, he would have been dead today. And later found out the city manager put a $5,000 hit on his life. Where was you, Mr. Crump, then? Don't get me wrong, I love you, Mr. Crump, and I respect you. Thank you for all the good work you're doing. All these people that are going to get on this bus tomorrow and ride to Waycross, they just called me a few minutes ago, you're going to meet there, and then you're going to ride on down to Brunswick. I'm sure y'all going to have a nice time. But I'm tired of watching Negroes play these same games. When I first heard of this young man, Arbery, getting shot, I said to myself, so what else is new? That was not news to me. I didn't get excited over that incident. Why didn't you, Brother Ryan? Because hell is happening across the state of Georgia each and every week. And y'all don't give a heaven about it. Now, I'm not down on y'all. Don't get me wrong. I know you can't do no more what your heart allow you to do. But you love Jesus. And you love Muhammad. And you love the son of Amram and Yoshabel Moses. And you love Buddha. Me, I just love y'all. Wait a minute. What about Marianne Whippaloo in Gordon, Georgia? Man, they got that woman. They tried their best. The newspaper under the chairman of the Democratic Party, man, they tried to destroy that black mayor. And what they took her through was no less important than what is happening in Brunswick tomorrow. But where were you? Where were the religious leaders then going? I drove all the way from Valdosta to Gordon many times. I wasn't paid for that. My friends called me crazy as hell. They didn't hardly even tell me thank you. But it's not about me. It's about those who fought for me before I knew what the fight was all about. And so I can't quit. And I don't do this for them. I do this for the people who fought for me. For me to go to the armed forces and get a paycheck every month after 21 years, although I caught hell in there. And had a stellar record too. I'm not boasting, but Jesus said ye shall know the truth and the truth with me. Wait a minute. Before that black woman took office, Marianne Whippaloo in Gordon, let me tell you how y'all go around hating white folk. I don't hate white folk. I don't even hate the wicked white folk. I don't hate them. Because I know that there's a just paymaster. And if they don't get their reward in this life, the God that my grandmama Eliza Bryant told me about, they gonna get theirs. And we don't even have to fight them. And I'm talking about the Negroes that go along with them. Somebody got to tell the truth today, y'all. Now, I know it's too late for a lot of y'all. This ain't going to help a lot of y'all. Y'all too far gone. But I feel in my spirit that your child might be playing a game and listen to 3 or 4 words that I'm saying, and they will get something to hold on to that will make them stand up, not just in the church, the synagogue, the mosque, or the temple, but stand up in the street as they walk their beat. The white folk in Gordon told Marianne Whippaloo when she took office, the first female mayor of that city, the first black female mayor, and the first black mayor ever in the history of that city. And let me show y'all something, because y'all think I'm losing my mind. I might have lost my mind, but believe me, I sure knew where to go back and get it. And I went back and got it. And some of y'all know I went back and got it. But I did lose my mind. I lost that old mind of indoctrination and incarceration. Yeah, I lost that mind. But I went back and got what was mine. And that was a more informed mind. That lined itself with the real Jesus. So when them white folks told Marianne Whippaloo, let me tell you what they told her. Before you get in that chair, you better consider doing a forensic audit there in Gordon. Let me repeat, I'm going to slow it down for you. Because my internet working good today. They've been trying to cut me off. It may start cutting me off in a minute. And I got good internet service. I pay heavily good for this one. Because I upload videos, so I pay a good penny to be able to talk to you because I love y'all just that much. The white folk told her, said, you better do a forensic audit because them people been taking the money in Gordon city government. So Marianne Whippaloo requested a forensic audit, and that's when all hell broke loose on the backside of hell. They wanted her out of office then, man. The finance chair, Terry Reese, I knew him well. Used to go and sit with him. He had a stack of files. He said, Ryan, there's $1.5 million $1.5 million that cannot be accounted for, Bro Ryan. Now, what I liked about him, that he didn't go in the back room or go tell me this inside of the bathroom in the toilet with the lid down on us. He said it at public meetings. Now, I call that a real person that's worthy to ride to Brunswick. When you have that kind of standing ability, I will go to Brunswick with you tomorrow. But he's deceased now. Before he died, he told the forensic audit who they did come in, but they never accounted for that $1.5 million. Wait a minute, one more, and then I'm going to move from there. He also, and this was the finance chair. He had served many years on the council. He said, a little city with less than 3,000 people. Y'all listen to me this morning, or this afternoon. With less than 3,000 people had 19 banking accounts. Y'all, let me say that again. Some of y'all earplugs turned off. A city with 3,000 people with 19 banking accounts. And Terry Reese, and I don't know how much money is in those accounts. Now, Mary Ann Whipperloo didn't win the election because the news media, Channel 21, Channel 18, and them other, they fought her and lied on her just like they lied on Linda Harris in Thomasville. And I got it documented. I don't lie on nobody, but I will turn the camera on them so you can see yourself lying. I can call the reporter's name that worked for the Thomas Enterprise and proved on video that she lied on Meg's mayor. The black police chief didn't help her. Hello, somebody. Wait a minute. I left there. I was called to a place called Warrington, Georgia, with George Ivey, the black mayor there. You ought to see how they treated him. But Mary Ann Whipperloo, George Ivey, the mayor, their incident in their case was no less important than what's happening in Brunswick tomorrow. Then I was called to Hancock and Sparta, Georgia. Where was CNN? Where was Barack Obama, President Barack Obama? The first black president. I ain't got nothing against him. I love the man. But Jesus said, ye shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Eric Holder didn't come out like he should have when Equipment 10 was being beat over the head for 4 long years and Latasha Head died. I talked to her father, and we agreed that we believe it was from the stress and the hellhole he put on them people with his all-white Georgia State Board of Elections Board. And another young lady contemplated suicide. And she said that to national news media. Where was Crumpton then? Why didn't you get on the bus and go to Quitman? Joseph Lowry came. That's why I don't too much care for these modern day Christians and Muslims and Jews and Hindu and you. How can you say you love Jesus, but you can't stand up when the lion is coming? Sparta and Hancock County, the police asking people for their property deeds so they could vote. New York Times came down one time and reported it. It's on YouTube and it's on my channel because I went there several times. But the question is, why is it that even the people that I went to help, some of them will not even get involved in no civil, women rights, human rights issues unless it's them or a member of their family or a member of their church. Hello, somebody. Wait a minute, I haven't finished yet. Telfair County. Man, they did a job on them black people over there too. Now, I don't talk much about Telfair County. But from being at the state election board meeting with the black guy from Clayton County near Atlanta in Macon, Georgia. He stood up and presented his case, but then so did Sheriff Christopher Stevenson. Christopher Stevenson in Telfair County stood to the face, before the face of Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp and told him, it is a disgrace what y'all done to these people. Yes, he said it was a disgrace. Stevenson said, I work for the government in foreign lands, and y'all sent out the worst investigators that I've ever seen in my life. Wait a minute, I could be lying, right? Google Telfair County and Christopher Stevenson and listen to him as he gives the words himself. And I was the only TV station, radio station, or as the same district attorney over there in Brunswick by the name of George E. Barnhill called me an uncertified news media organization. But everything that I've mentioned to you, there was no certified news media organization that connected the dots from Madison, Florida, Equipment 10, and on round and on round. Mr. Barnhill, the same district attorney that's caught up in this young man's death, 70 days passed and they wasn't going to do a heavenly thing about the case. Barnhill mentioned me negatively in a letter he wrote to Bobby Worthy. I didn't even know the man outside of recording in his office with Bobby Worthy, and I never called his name. But since he put me in the program and started mentioning my name and what I do negatively, I said to myself, oh, I see. God want to use me through District Attorney Barnhill to expose the corruption in Coffee County and Douglas, Georgia. And now look where it got him at. Now it's in Brunswick. I'm telling y'all, when God called me to do what I'm doing, I am the dot connector. God called me to be the dot connector. This white girl here in Valdosta, I don't call her name, although she posts all kind of stuff, negative stuff about George Boston Ryan. But I never mentioned her name, but I could. I didn't know she go under 7 aliases and really didn't care. And she talked about me, I have a tape recorder in my sock. Hell, I got tape recorders all around my car. Might have one in my ass. Now don't y'all say I cursed because I didn't. God used the ass in the Bible. The ass in the Bible spoke what Balaam would not speak. The ass in the Bible saw what Balaam could not see. So when you hear people talk about damn and ass, they leave them alone. You see, beavers have a job of damming up water. They do that because they want to live. The ass came to Balaam because God wanted Balaam to live. He couldn't see the angel in the way. The ass saw the angel and pointed him out because he didn't live in fear like too many of my black brothers who claim Jesus as their Savior, or Allah as their God, or the son of Amram and Yoshabel as their prophet, or Buddha as their mentor. But when you call on them in these little towns, I'm not talking about when the big light is shining and the CBS and all your news media with their huge cameras show up and then they get 4 seconds. That's all they gonna get. It's 4 seconds. And all they gonna say is what they want you to know. But when I go by the grace of the God that sent me, and then my black people, what they tell me? They tell me, your video's too long. They tell me your video's too long. That's why people don't watch them. No. The people are watching them. But the beast in human form who don't love the truth, they are not watching it. Because they know that the truth will set you free. And you see, the devil ain't never set nobody free. A lie ain't never set nobody free. I never seen so many black folks scared of the devil, by the way, while I'm at it. I told one of my friends the other day, he looked at me like I was crazy. I said, if somebody told me that the devil was in town and he was holding the press conference, I'd be the first one there. Why am I run away from the devil like I fear him? I fear you. The reason I fear you is because you walk around here pretending to be something that you're not. But once I know the devil and know what he's capable of, see, you don't. Once you know the devil, you know him. Wait a minute. Let me get back on track. Flotel Fair County. I would call it Davisboro, Georgia. The white police chief had the city council member, all of them were scared as hell. And they called me, but then after calling me, well, I ain't gonna talk too much about that. I don't want to talk too much about that, but I'll put it like this. I went to Davisboro as well. Them black folk were catching hell over there for them white folk and them Uncle Tom. You don't see that on no CNN. You don't see no high-powered attorneys coming in. They don't even travel with me when I go over there. They know I'm coming. Wait a minute. From there to Willacoochee, Georgia. Check this. A white man running for mayor, going through the city, riding in a state representative car, paying black folks to vote for him. Bobby Worthy, Neesmith, Larry O'Hara, district coordinator, Larry Lockett, and other organizations was called to be there for a press conference. And District Attorney Bond Hill in Ware County, when they sent out their press release, Mr. Bond Hill, your certified news media didn't even show up, Mr. Bond Hill. But you gonna call me an uncertified news media outlet, but I report what other white media and black media and others will not report. And while I'm riding this turkey, because the turkey I'm riding is a big one today, don't you know that in the case of the Quitman 10+2, after 4 long years, Lula Smart had 3 trials. I mean, they wanted to put them black folks under the prison. They were the most respected black folk in the state of Georgia, the United States, and perhaps the world. Lula Smart went to court. And do you know, her first trial was a mistrial. But those wicked, ungodly state prosecutors, we gonna try her again. And they did. They tried her a second time. Another mistrial. Boy, if you black, you was born to catch hell among wicked white folk. Don't get me wrong. I didn't say all white folk. Kevin Moran was a white man. I got him on my video. I got other whites that I interviewed on my videos. They were tired of this junk. Tired of it. Then the district attorney said, I can't wait. We gonna get them black folks. We gonna try again. Nobody said nothing about the money the taxpayers had to pay for that foolishness under Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp, who y'all voted in as your governor. And what I'm telling you all, Mr. District Attorney Bond Hill in Ware County, there was no certified news media to report this stuff. So the third trial of Lula Smart lasted 19 days, I believe it was. And guess what the white-dominated newspapers, like the Valdosta Daily Times and the Quitman Free Press, the Thomasville Enterprise, you think they stayed in the courtroom? You think they was interested in the outcome of that trial? No. But guess who was there? Mr. Bond Hill. Mr. Bond Hill. District Attorney Waycross. Guess who was there? You right. I was there. You know why I was there, Mr. Bond here? Because I know the power of truth. I know the power of righteousness. And I know the reward of the righteous. And I know the reward going to be given to the wicked. And you can run, but you will not get away. You may never face justice in this world. Mr. Flint may get away. Trump may get away in this world. But his children and great-grandchildren, down to the third and fourth generation, will be paid their just reward, according to the volume of sacred law that my grandmother Eliza Bryant told me, just 18 miles west of Valdosta in Brooks County, Georgia. I'm coming on around to Brunswick, y'all. Wait a minute. Willacoochee, Georgia. I showed up, but the news media didn't. Let's go to Nichols, Georgia. The president of the NAACP in Coffee County called me. I went through city council, stood in front, and he talked about the $750,000 that Assistant District Attorney Sansock, yeah, man, Sansock, Judge Spivey, man, you know, I done been around, man. But y'all don't hear me down on these people. See, the reason I don't down Sansock and the rest of these people for the most part, I'm not in an ugly man like they do me. Because I want to thank them, and I do in some of my videos, I thank them for allowing God to use them. You see. See, God is using them to paint this big old picture right now about what's going on in Brunswick. So I done painted my picture so clear, I don't have to go to Brunswick. I'm just like Michelangelo. My work is done. Isn't it strange that I started in Madison, Florida? God allowed me to go to Quitman, go all the way up to the west side of I-75, then cross over from Clayton County, pick up Marion, Whoopaloo, or Warrington, and then come down the other side of Georgia, east side, to Douglas with Olivia Coley Pierce, and y'all know what y'all done to her. And got a black mayor there, and that's another story to be told. Y'all need to Google Douglas mayor. I can't think, Mayor Polk. And Waycross, I practically made my home in Waycross. I went when Nathaniel Lee was killed. Roberson was killed in his mama's living room there, shot dead, mama looking at it. And I could go on, let's leave that. Then let's go on to Brunswick. Not only have I been to Brunswick, no, we can go to Green, shot dead by the policeman. Then Kingsley, Georgia. I think I got it right. But I even stayed overnight on the base out there. Man, you talking about some black folk, man, them black folk was in outrage last about 3 or 4 days. The religious pastors ain't showed up yet. We had 3. I think they were blind. But they didn't stand up for nothing else. Wait a minute. Have I been to Brunswick then? Yeah, I've been to Brunswick. Several times. When they were having problems over there with the district attorney, justice department over there. Kevin Gould, the attorney. Lord, let me say this, y'all. No, I don't plan to be in Brunswick. Now, if I lay down tonight and something tell me, say, get up and go, I'll go. I already car already full of gas, I could go. But I'm almost sure I'm not going. I've been had people asking, Ryan, why you ain't been? My family member, Ryan, why ain't you going to Brunswick? I'm going to ask you a question. How many people came with me when I went to all these other places? And I cried out trying to help, for the most part, these black women. And then when I put the videos up, most of you rather watch somebody shake a booty and kiss her ass than to see these people in pain. Some of them done died. Wait a minute, I missed one.
in guarding the stress drove Mary Ann Whippaloo's husband. He fell at City Hall from the stress they were putting upon him, and he died. This thing is real. This is a war zone. But who cares? And the people who really care, we call them suck egg dogs. But in the end, truth, right, and justice are going to win. In conclusion, I'm going to wind this up in 1 minute. In conclusion, you can't be no more than who you are. You see, I used to be a Christian. I've gone to the mosque. I studied Islam, not as a Muslim, but as a human being. I went to the Catholic Church because I wanted to know. I went among the Hindus in Okinawa, Japan, because I wanted to know what they knew. God allowed me to sit with some of the brothers from India. And I read a little bit book from their holy book, the Gita. And I done read a little bit about the book of Josephus. I got one here at the house. I've read the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books of Moses and many other books. But you can read all you want, but if God don't lead you home, you'll never get home. I fell on my way to the bus station. And as I close, about people that stand up, almost without exception, the people that Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp brought up across the state of Georgia are the most respected, the most educated black people in the state of Georgia. And those are the ones these white folks attack. These white folks ain't attacking the drug dealers. These white folks are attacking with the help of Uncle Tom's. Let me repeat. With the help of Uncle Tom's and Aunt Jane, using black folk to attack the most upright black folk in communities across the state of Georgia. But look how God worked. They removed Dr. Nancy Dennett from the Brooks County School Board of Education. But guess what happened? The God of my grandmother, Eliza Bright, made her the mayor of the city. Lula Smart had 3 trials. The God of my grandmother, Eliza Bright, put her on city council. And you all ask me, why am I so happy? People ask me, say, Ryan, I don't never see you angry and upset, man. That's what truth will do for you. And this is what the black Jesus wanted you to do. The black Jesus wanted you to understand that when you walk in truth, you don't mind dying, man. I ain't gonna walk out here and don't put on no gloves and no mask for Miss Corona. Miss Corona trying to go to bed with everybody she can. And you a fool to jump in the bed with her. Now if I get it, I get it. And if I die, I die. And I die with understanding. The book says, blessed are they that die in the name of the Lord, for they shall rest from their labor. What you mean rest, Brother Ryan? All this hate and criticism that you all hype upon me that make me feel so good. Y'all, let me share this with y'all, if I may. I guess I'm going to go over that 1 minute. You know, February the 5th, 2015, I was riding down the street in Gordon, Georgia, and a group of whites, 8 white folk, one was the city mayor pro tem. They called me a nigger twice. I had my gun with me. I ain't mean to say that, but I'll say this. I had my gun, my camera. So I jumped out my car, left the door open in the street. The police ran across the street from him. But see, I didn't give a dime about that. I reached in the back and got my camera. And I walked out among them. And I asked them like this. Where is the nigger? Show me the nigger. They scattered. And so when I stood at the full city council, they thought I was going to die on them. So when I got up, you can see this, all you got to do, Google my name,
in Gordon, Georgia. You'll see what I'm telling you about. I don't lie. Don't have to. A third of the people walked out before I stood up to speak. And I didn't even call their name, didn't talk about them, except the fact that I was called a nigger. You see, it used to offend me when I was a traditional so-called Christian. But when I started studying outside the box of incarceration and indoctrination and found out what the ancient Egyptians called a nigger, I said, oh my God, what I'm going to get mad with white people for when they call me spiritual, a spiritual being like close to God, because it means righteousness. It's like God. It's like being a God. See, these white folk knew who you were. They knew who God made you. And because they knew who God made you in this house of black skin, they had to tear you apart. They had to tear your family down. But they wouldn't tell you the truth about who you are. Do you know how long I was a Christian and I didn't know that the Garden of Eden took place right there in Africa? I didn't know that. But one day I fell on my way to the bus station. Look at the Guy Horn. All them rivers right there in the book of Genesis. All that is right there in your motherland, man. That wasn't in Europe. And now they tell you that Israel is not in Africa. Check the ancient maps. A white man went and dug a little Suez Canal there to separate the truth. Matthew 24:35 says heaven and earth would pass away, but my word gonna stand forever. And Psalm 68:31 says princes shall come out of Egypt, and Ethiopia shall soon stretch forth her hand unto God. That was a prophecy. Run references on Psalm 68:31 and see, don't it run you right into the birth of Jesus. That's why he's called the Prince of Peace. Y'all better get on the bus with me. You better get on the bus with me. And I don't boast about that, because when I went to school, I rode the short bus. I didn't ride the long bus like y'all. God put me on the short bus. And when they put me on the bus, they put me under the bus. And the damn bus didn't have no tires on it. But today I rambled and rolled with the best of them. Did it in the military. When I took tests, I tested with the Catholics, private schools, and I maintained my rank. I didn't get the top rank, but I walked out with top rank performance reports. I'll stack my airman performance reports up against anybody that was in the Air Force. The highest rank you would get, not the highest rank, the highest evaluation you could get was a 9. And when I was stationed here at Moody, they get James E. King, who live up in Nashville, a white guy, my supervisor, but I'm the one trained him. So on my evaluation, he gave me an 8. And I told him to his face, because I don't talk behind nobody's back. I said, I'm the one trained you. He said, that's why I think you deserve it. I said, but let me tell you something. I'm going to get it removed. He said, good luck. I wrote a letter, sent it off to Air Force MPC. They disapproved it. Before that, I went to my lieutenant colonel, told him about it. He wouldn't give me a letter. But thank God for another white man that was on leave when I wrote the first. Because see, I don't quit on nothing. I'm going to take it all the way into God, say now it's time to quit. So I wrote another letter. And I told Sergeant Deakins about it. Sergeant Deakins said, hell, Rhyme, you the one trained him. He said, Rhyme, you the one hold reports on analysis section together. You the one got the best I got the best report and analysis section in Tactical Air Command and throughout the whole Air Force. That's right. I was the best of the best, and they used my department for a test. I ain't bragging. I'm speaking the truth. Got document here to prove it. So I sent that off to Air Force MPC. You know what they did? They removed it from my record. So when you look through, I got all my records here at the house. And if y'all think I'm lying, call me on it. TV station, radio, whoever you are, 60 minutes, 43 hours, 10 seconds. I can show you what I'm talking about. I don't have to lie because I'm not a lying man. Y'all wonder why I stand up for truth so powerful? Because I know the power of the truth. And I know the consequences for speaking the truth. But that's a price I'm willing to pay. Because I know, in the end, truth, right, and justice is going to win. If you don't believe it, you might want to Google Equipment 10 plus 2. They got something for you. All you got to do is walk upright. And don't tell everybody you're walking upright. Just do it. Don't tell everybody you saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, and fire baptized. Don't tell them that. Just be it. Don't tell everybody you're a Muslim. Just be it. Don't tell everybody that you are ancient Egyptian. Just be it. Don't tell nobody that you are the original Jews, the Ethiopian Jews, and tell them that you know that the Jews that sat in the chair in the state of Israel, the Ashkenazi Jews, are not the Jews that's supposed to be sitting there. And there are white Jews who know it. And there are many of us black people who know it. But God said, don't say it yet. But we are walking up to the line now, and he's getting ready now to expose this thing. This is what's going on, y'all. God getting ready to let you know the time in which you live, and he's about to tell you why you are black. Now, I'm going to close y'all on this one. And if I don't, you can call me a lie tomorrow. But I'm going to close on this. The Bible says that when God didn't have nobody to talk to, the book says he walked on the backside of the mountains in darkness, and he talked with wisdom. Somewhere, if you say you know about God, then you ought to show forth some wisdom somewhere. Your whole life should not be about want to take a woman to bed or want to get that sexy looking man so you can destroy his God-given image. Y'all have a nice day. And wherever you find a righteous man, just remember, if you give him a drink of water, God will bless you for that. But if you are under the spell of the Leviathan, or if God has given you over to a reprobated mind, where you rather follow Jim Jones to Guyana than to follow a righteous man to paradise, God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. Bye-bye. We're gone.
You've got mail.